So take nothing from his words, not add anything to it. So he destroyed the earth by water the first time. He promised to never do that again. So keep that on your mind while you sitting back, listen to rainbow in the sky, where all the birds will fly. He said I will destroy it by fire the second time. No lie, I won't even pretend I understand all of the book of Revelation, but I do understand quite plainly what we are facing. I wish to spend eternity with God and His Son. I believe in the second coming of the exact same one. Looking at any events unfolding as a child. The mark of the beast, artificial intelligence, microchips, man, I mean, wow. No cash, digital currency, total government dependency, control over choices when we are just trying to raise a family. Working long hours, some even 2 jobs, a lot of things go unnoticed or just go over our norms. No one can comprehend how bad things will be, but we see it happening every day like Abby see. Bit by bit on the news every day. Look at how the devil been doing this since the very first day. Some people choose the Antichrist and forgotten about the rapture. I don't know when the day will be or the day right after. I'm just not trying to be left behind. When that's what time blows your mind, believe right now that God, I'll be out, is giving us all a second chance to turn our lives around or face a circumstance. Live according to His will and get God's message out. You'll understand it later. It sounds like I'm just running my mouth until the good Lord calls me home, wherever that may be. I just hope it's the best place that anyone will ever see. So I wanna make it clear right now that I believe in Jesus Christ as the one and only true Lord and Savior of all of our lives. Despite the fact that I feel alive, I believe that Jesus is all I got. He's the son of Abiyah. And I accept His free gift, it wasn't bought. And all of this was only done through His death on the cross. This isn't a challenge, it's more of a free choice. And you're the boss. Now let the Holy Spirit move you the way you'll never take a loss. I trust Abiyah, our Father of all things, because through Jesus Christ is how He knew that I was Kareem. Of course He knows us. Of course He knows us. By all of our names.
Well, all right. Once again, putting it down for you and yours. This is another episode of the Lion's Den, the segment titled The Conversation Continues. And we are your host. As always, behind the engineering of everything you're hearing, we have the seventh answer, Lady Karima at the helm, the lioness. And you've been graced to hear yet another original song by the seventh answer. She's very talented, has many irons in the fire. That's Abiyah. All right. A salute to the great Father, the great Spirit, and our great Son, God. I'm sorry, say again.
That was my twin.
Oh, your twin. Okay.
Yeah, I produced that for my twin.
Oh, all right. Well, as you can see,
my real twin, my blood twin too. His name Kareem.
Well, all right then. You all heard that, but like I said, original music from the seventh answer. She, like I said, multi-talented. That's why she's the seventh answer. And I'm your friend and your brother and your servant more than anything. Brother Malakaya, a.k.a. Dark Storm, a.k.a. Baby Hebrew. And like Curtis Mayfield, as sang by Aretha Franklin, we're about to give you something that you can feel. And that is a high-powered but very pleasant truthality lion's den listening experience. And of course, you know the formula which makes this powerful machine work, the 7 R's, baby, and that is intelligence, integrity, influence, inspiration, insight, independence, which all goes into what? Providing you stone cold verifiable information. And you know when you roll with the lions, you're rolling with what? The pride. Because you know we're always permanently ready in destroying evil, starting with our own, as always you hear me say. The seventh answer and myself, we don't walk as Mr. and Mrs. Perfect. Like anybody out there, we battle the flesh and we battle all kind of things around us. Those that forces that can be seen and the unseen, but yet we always still manage to rise to our godly self in the manifestation of both the masculine and feminine energies, to sacrifice ourselves to bring you this presentation week to week, night to night, in whatever time zone that we are living in and you're living in. For my night hours on the East Coast, welcome, welcome. To all my West Coasters out there in the height of the going into the evening, welcome, welcome. And to those of you living in other time zones, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, welcome. And you know that besides rolling with the pride, you're also rolling with one of the many factions of the anti-coon movement. And you know what a coon is, C-O-O-N, a complete, obvious, obedient, yes, a boss, nigga. That's not who and what we are. Why? Because we can't be bought, and more importantly, we can't be sold. And this is also the home of point counterpoint. Now, every now and again, we might not see 100% eye to eye. So we go through a little point counterpoint, another way of saying debate, but it's all in love, and it just shows the diversity of the Lions Den and how we operate, wherein it's okay to respect differing opinions as long as they're relevant and intelligent. And that what makes the Lions Den unique throughout the years for all of our long-time listeners. The seventh answer, she provides you with a different and vast array of different conversationalists and topics. All right. And that's, again, why when you tune to the Lions Den, you will be experiencing a very dynamic but still pleasant truthality listening experience. And of course, we always hit you with what? The facts. That's FACT apostrophe S to make it work, because we're going to hit you with what? The frequently accurate, correct truths. It's what we do. Virgo energy, baby. Analytical, political, critical, but never hypocritical. We always strive never to be hypocritical. And of course, there's the two scriptures that from the Bible plane that is the foundation of the structure. And that's Isaiah, the 41st chapter. We're in verse 21 through 24. Produce your cause, bring forth your strong evidence from past, present, and events future. And of course, 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, at verse 21, which tells us to always be ready, willing, and able to what? Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. The facts are good. The truth is good. The 7 eyes are good. Okay? Rolling with the anti-coon movement is good. Having devoted souls like the seventh answer, Lady Karima and I, Dark Storm, at the helm is good. All right, so You're in good, like Allstate, baby. You're in good hands here. And of course, we know that some of you out there, well, you like being lied to. You may not be able to handle the truth, the facts that we bring, and you stumble here on this channel. The Seventh Answer and myself, we're always sympathetic and empathetic to those of you out there who may tune in and you're deliberately and willfully intellectually challenged. You prove to be recalcitrant, a fancy way of saying dumb. Well, we always extend to those of you out there living in lies and delusion and delusion, thinking you're gonna one day stumble on us doing that. That is teaching you lies and all that. Well, we always extend to you our deepest sympathies and empathies, because we ain't gonna compromise for nobody. So if you like being lied to, you can leave. You can skedaddle. Vamos, go, bye. You, my Negro and my Negress, let me assure you, you will not be missed. As the Seventh Answer has continually scrolling by, mature audiences only. So if you're spiritually, intellectually, and emotionally immature, and you can't deal with intelligent discourse, bye. And last, but certainly not least, one of the house rules established by one of our beautiful family members, I Am Manna, who cautioned so many years ago, when you step into the lion's den, you best wipe your feet, mind your manners, conduct yourself in an orderly manner, and enjoy yourself. Why? Because when it comes to the Seventh Answer and myself, as a fellow Virgo, Big Daddy Kane said so many years ago through Heat Wave, ain't no half stepping. Why? Because we're two verifiable lyrical Smith and Wessons. We're armed with knowledge, dangerous to liars, because we know how to use it. And if you get out of line in any way, shape, or form, well, the Seventh Answer will swoop down, the lioness, break you down with the quickness, work you out like physical fitness, and hit you with so many combinations, not even a Jehovah will witness, as you know. And so with all these formalities out the way, oh my God, man. These are other stories that we have been paying attention to while we have been giving you a two-parter concerning our dear brother, Mr. William H. Cosby. Now we have to go back into the abyss of lies that are being told by your president, the DJT, Donald J. Trump and company. And tonight's title of this segment, as laid out by the Seventh Answer, Truth Revealed, the U.S.-Iran deception, and then Ghana, Reparations Gambit. Yeah, we got some interlopers and some, just like we anticipated, all of us out there who've been longtime advocates and fighters for reparations. Yeah, here come the interlopers. Here comes the interference. But before we get there, we got to get into this whole issue on the United States and the continuing fallout with Iran. And we're losing, y'all. We are losing major. See, what we're not going to do is lie to you. Now, Sunday passed. We here on the Lions Den took you into the Axe Man Cometh and the cuts in the $200 billion supplemental request for money by the Department of War head Pete Hegseth. Well, here it is. We're in Thursday night, and man, the cuts have been coming. Oh, in my neck of the woods, The Medicaid offices, Medicare, have been filled to the brim. Immediate cuts, EBT, immediate cuts. Then I get reports from some of my people out in New Jersey, Philadelphia, and DC. Yo, it's a madhouse of sudden cuts. We told you that we're going to always be the ones that pay for anything that goes wrong in this country. Why? Because we have thieves among us ruling over us. And thieves do what they do best: ravage, steal, and take from the poor. See, it's not by accident that America uses the emblem of the eagle. It's not by accident. It's by grand design. Because if you know the nature of an eagle, especially the male eagle, all right, when in their hunting they can't find food and sustenance in a timely manner, they're known to turn around and eat their own hatchlings, their own children. And this is what America does. If it can't go out in other countries, nations, and lands and take over, conquer, and steal other people's resources, well, they can always turn around and eat our flesh. Figuratively, and in some cases now we're finding out literally. So it's well prophesied. The Bible said they will use the emblem of the eagle, and that's exactly what they are. And if you want to get in on this conversation along the way, you're more than welcome to join me. The Seventh Answer will drop the link, and you're welcome to join as long as you come in here with relevant, intelligent information. But now here, if you haven't heard, boy, here we go. Now your president and Pete Hegseth and all the other rogue Republicans and Democrats who are pushing this Iran war to boost their money and their worth are now gonna, here it is, through the United States Army, are now increasing their age of recruitment to 42. Now 42 is when you start entering the zone of Geezerville. 42 would be when a person is retiring from the military after coming in at 18, 19, 20 something years of age. But here's what's happening, y'all. The United States military, as far as recruitment, they have been down bad in these last 10 years. They down real bad. Why? Because a lot of these Gen Z and millennials, they're not interested in volunteering to join the military. They're not interested in going into the military. Why? Because they've been seeing people like myself and other Gen Xers and other and baby boomers and anyone in between who did serve. Some of us in war zones, some of us in semi-war zones, and some of us who it was still peacetime, but still we were out doing maneuvers that put our lives at risk. They see how we veterans are being treated by this country. And they realize, hey, the risk to ratio payout, it ain't worth it. Oh, it's been downhill in the recruitment phase. And now with this war cooked up, and Iran is handing America their butts. We are losing. And that's why all these cuts and all these other things transpiring, and they want more money, it's happening. Now, some of you patriots out there, because there's always some of you out there, some of you Stephen from Django mentality. Hey, we know you're listening. Or we know you got those of you with the Candace Owens and Officer Tatum and Larry Elder mentality. You guys are so negative. Why are you always coming down on America? Man, shut up. Just shut up, please. All right? We told you at the top of this presentation, if you like being lied to, you shouldn't be here. Now get back on what I was saying. Here it is, right? 5,000 American troops were sent last week. Now another additional 2,500 or more are going to be sent. It's been rumored and said they're going to send more. Why? Because we are getting rocked out there. There are already reports of soldiers making videos saying, yo, we messed up big time coming out here, and it's already dissension transpiring within the rank where a lot of soldiers are not going, don't want to go because they don't want to go fight and die for Israel. Let's just keep it 1,000. See, people just finally waking up after that whole weapons of mass deception and with Dick Cheney and former President George Herbert Walker Bush leading hundreds of thousands of American soldiers into a war where about 50 or more, about half that number died. Or if they didn't die, they're dead while they're living with all kinds of physical ailments, maladies, but yet they can't get the help they need. Here it is, you see homeless veterans who've been fighting homelessness, alcoholism, drug addiction, turned down, destroyed. The Gen Z, millennials, no thanks. We ain't interested. And what they're not interested in right now is trying to be goaded into getting suited and booted to go fight for these billionaires and trillionaires who at one time were a bunch of draft dodging Korean War and Vietnam draft dodging punks. I'm gonna just say it just like that. It never ceases to amaze me how all these draft dodging punks from Vietnam, the Korean War, are so tough and so ready to send you off to die for their cause. And that's for their money and for their money. And now here it is, they are bringing the recruitment age limit to 42. This ain't the first time this happened. That was done way back when that whole Iraq thing had popped off. But now it's just so blatant what's happening and why it's happening. But if you've been listening to the Lions Den, we told you. We gave video evidence, we gave testimonies, life experience. We told you this was coming. On the low, Donald Trump and company really trying to talk with the leaders of Iran and try to call for a ceasefire, but Iran is saying, nah. You started it, we gonna finish it. We into it now. What's up? Here it is. So far, we are like now what? At last count, it was about 11.3 billion that was already spent. Well, it's double that now. And so you better believe that the draft is coming, y'all. The draft is coming. And we understand that right now with the high power content that we bring in, I know you algorithm blockers, boy, y'all probably gonna be putting a full court press on suppressing us. Especially when I gotta be careful what I say and what countries I name. All right. Because I don't want the show struck for, oh, you're anti-Semitic. No, shut up. No, we're not. Because we're Semitic. But you know how it go, y'all. You know how it go. But again, we're right in what we're talking about. Because again, no war started on unjust means will be won. See, for a long time, America and the leaders of this country, the leaders in the corruption in this country, has had a lot of people shook. They've been able to go here, there, all throughout the world, taking what they want, when they want, encroaching and forcing themselves on people's lives. But now we're living in a time. We're now living in a time divine wise. And like I said, the judgments, if indeed the biblical aspect of it is true, it can't come fast enough for me. But still, now we are indeed seeing a paradigm shift in the world. And now, America, you ain't as strong and tough as you used to be. And now you have adversaries and all kinds of enemies who have secretly not liked you, showing their true colors on where they stand with you. And so we always come here to talk about it. We're not going to give you no lies. We're not going to give you no half truths. See, we don't have anybody from a corporate standpoint breathing down our backs, telling us what we can and cannot say. And this gives us the free reign, independence-wise, to be able to give you exactly what you need. And like I said, here it is, that $200 billion that they requested, it's already being garnered and gathered with all the cuts that are going on throughout this country. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Seventh Answer and myself, here on the Lions Den, we do not encourage any acts of terror. We do not advocate any kind of sedition or rebellion, as we are very much powerful, harbingers of the freedom of speech. But we believe in the freedom of speech, but responsible speech. So we want to make sure we give the disclaimers, letting it be known that we don't, again, advocate any kind of acts of terror, sedition, rebellion of any kind. But what we are going to do is give you strong warning and forecast that a lot of rebellion, a lot of sedition is about to happen. And it's already happening. Because see, listen, you cannot continue to cut the legs of the people off, take away their much needed resources. And you're doing it blatantly, playing in our faces with this attitude that you can do what you want when you want. No, you can't. And at the same time, people are not interested in you watching you billionaire, trillionaire, billionaire, millionaire class feed your families while we all starve. Freedom, we the people, we free? No, we're not. No, we're not. And people are no longer interested in the game playing. And people want their money. They want their well-being. They want their peace of mind and their fair share of the wealth and resources too. And when you taking from people who desperately need, and I'm gonna use the word desperately, and some is desperately need and have worked hard, long for what's theirs, and you're taking it for frivolous and unjust means, you're asking for a lot of trouble. You're asking for a lot of trouble, and you're gonna get it. Seriously. And they hear it as your pride, but this leadership and those who are in the helm of the presidency and governorships, you're so proud, you're not gonna hear it. You're gonna harden your heart like all the rulers of ancient kingdoms past. If you believe the biblical accounts written historically, you're gonna harden your heart like Pharaoh, Nero, Julius Caesar, Pontius Pilate, whoever. You're gonna harden your heart and not take heed. That's fine. But when certain things start happening, don't go, oh God, why? You know why. For those of you out there tuning in, right? The seventh answer, and not that we need anybody's validation whatsoever, because the truths that we speak, the facts that we bring, validate us alone. But still, there's always this mystery phenomenon that we both have observed throughout the years of our living. That sometimes people are always quick to believe somebody else before they believe you. And throughout the years, and even certain people that come through here and vibe, click, and politic with us, oh, you guys are always talking about race. Oh, you guys are always so negative. Why must you be always so doom and gloom? But we always shoot back and ask, wait, how is telling the truth, providing the facts and evidence, how is that a bad thing? How? That does not make any sense to me at all. Especially when we've all been taught in our formative years that we shouldn't go telling lies. That lying is not a good thing. Now, over the years, I've learned in certain instances, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. This is a bit of a caveat. It's a fancy word for, a little contradictory. I've learned throughout the years, sometimes it's not wise to tell the whole truth, especially if it's going to work against you and cost you. But still, I have strived, along with the seventh answer, we strive to no longer practice lying. Lying, like anything else, is a practice. It's an art. You've heard people use the oxymoron. Oh man, so-and-so or so-and-so, they are good liars. There's no such thing as a good liar. If you come across someone who's a skillful liar, yeah. Boy, there are people out here who can lie skillfully, convincingly, until you can see through their foolishness and skullduggery and call them out on it. And for a long time, the American media has been one of the biggest conduits used to lie to the people. Thus, the acronym, some say media, MEDIA, the most evil devil in America. As the late great Malcolm X said, the American media is so skillful with writers and those who know how to, dictate narratives that they can make the criminal the victim and the victim the criminal. They can have you hating the hero and loving the villain. And this is why you need the Lion's Den in your life and other voices in Black media out here. You need us. Even some of you out there who are white, Asian, other ethnic persuasions, you're tuning into us because you know why? Also here in the Lion's Den, we ask, aren't you tired of being lied to? Well, if you are, you have tuned into the right place at the right time, because from city to city and state to state, without no follow-up bleep bloops abundance, the Lion's Den, with the seventh answer at the helm, will be giving you miracles and wonders, miracles and wonders. So moving on. So therefore, we're gonna bring in some videos. The seventh answer, she can use her discretion, because we want to make sure we stay within our time constraint. But if we got to go over, then so be it. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. So is she. But we're gonna bring in other people to tell you what a lot of people are feeling in this country. Because like it seemed to me, again, there's some of you out there, whenever you hear the seventh answer and me say it, it's like what Malcolm X said so many years ago: too black, too strong. Too black, too strong. I guess we're too ethnic for some of you out there. But still, so we're going to bring in some other people that's going to break down to you the whole issue of the draft, how it's definitely about to come down the pipe. Don't be shocked if you start hearing the news that they're going to go into the prisons, sit down with some convicted felons who maybe some who've done non-violent crimes and they're doing their time. They're going to strike a deal with them. We'll let you go if you go over here and fight for us. They're going to pick, believe me, they're going to pick who they go into the prisons and make this deal with. I assure you, they won't be putting a AR-15 or whatever weaponry in the hands of psychotic criminals. You better believe that. But that's where it's going now. This Iran war is costing us. And so what we do right now is we're giving you the overview of what and the seventh answer we uncover. See, when some of you out there sleeping or you're bogged down with life and you don't make time to go and check things out for yourself, that's why you have us. We're built for it. Okay? You have us. We'll go out there. We go out there in the trenches. We go out there in the war zone and do the reconnaissance, information gathering. And then we come here and report it and talk to you about it. We burn the midnight oil. We sacrifice day, night to make sure that whatever you don't, get to do for yourself, we're here for you. Why? Because we love you. We love what we do. It's our God-given duty in the spirit of Ezekiel 3:17. Son of man or woman, that's right. I have made thee to be a watchman or watchwoman, in Kareem's case, to the house of Israel, to my people. And therefore, watch and give them warning from me. See, because everything is divine in its structure. So without further ado, now that we've given you the first 40 minutes of a monologue and breakdown on what our intents are, we're now getting ready to go into the producing our cause and bringing forth our strong evidence on the lighter side. All right. And if you're watching this, man, tell a friend, share this show. Okay. And so the conversation continues. Seventh answer. Let's take it away. Listen up, you all. It's funny, but it's not funny. But let's go to work under the Freedom of Information Act and fair use.
All right, breaking news. The Army has upped the age of enlistment, maximum age of enlistment, to 42 years old. This is really big news. This signals that not only is this war not over, that they're probably going to need a lot more people to drop their bombs, pull their triggers, and get shot for them in this illegal war. I'm terrified of the prospect of a draft. I think it's going to happen, and a lot of innocent people are going to die. That's where this is going, if you ask me. We're also getting the news today on Tuesday that another 3,000 are being sent to the Middle East to this war with Iran. They were on clip to do 5,000 deployments a week. Last Friday and the week before, they announced 5,000 people being sent on each Friday. What I was wondering is, are they going to try this again on this Friday? They didn't wait till Friday. We only got to Tuesday. So that's 2 business days later, and another 3,000 are being sent. So we got to watch these numbers closely. We're up to 13,000 by my count. So on its face, the main premise here is that, oh, you can volunteer for another 7 more years of your life. So they won't cut you off at volunteering up until the age of 42. Then they'll say, oh, you're a little too old for us. So it seems like at this point, they're trying to scare/fool people into the slaughter line, into the Army recruitment offices with PSYOPs and Fox News. And this isn't the first time they've raised the age to 42. They temporarily did that back in 2006 because they had their insurgencies in Iraq and Afghanistan. But now it seems like a more permanent jump up to 42. This comes on the heels of Hegseth saying a few days ago that they were going to actively start calling up people and trying to get them to re-enlist.
I direct the secretaries of the military departments, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, within 60 days to once again recontact those who have not rejoined already and inform them of this new information and this.
So I think this is very concerning. The United States always brags it has this huge volunteer army, but now there's cracks and signs of them saying that's not enough. What are they planning to do that this huge volunteer army isn't enough? Also, I would point out that these so-called volunteers, at this point, most of them didn't volunteer for this. This isn't what they signed up for. They were fooled into this. It makes me really sad when good people die or get hurt in this type of crap. So what's interesting is this could be similar to what happened in 2005, where the Army was way under its recruiting goal, the Guard, the Reserve, etc. It also resulted in them really reducing the requirements to get into the force. High school graduation rate fell by like 30% between early 1990s to 2007. They started waving in more and more people with criminal history. That's what we're seeing here as well. They're easing restrictions if you had a possession conviction in the past. They doubled the bonuses from 20,000 to 40,000, and they expanded the recruiter force to 6,660. Well, it says 6,500, but they probably just rounded. And also regarding this news that 3,000 more troops are being sent, I don't at all trust these numbers, neither in terms of how many have been deployed, how many have died, etc. Seems like they have something big planned, and they're trying to wave in as many people as possible before reality hits. So here's the regulation dated March the 20th, comes into effect April the 20th. And the big lines, this revision increases the maximum enlistment age up to and including age 42, both for non-prior service applicants and for applicants with prior military service. Oh, they're adding who can approve major misconduct waivers. That's concerning. So what do they have planned? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, first of all, let's get one thing clear. If they're getting people to join at 22, what make you think somebody 42 years old about to go into the twilight of Geezerville, body starts changing, your certain things no matter how much exercise and pliability you may have, a 42-year-old body in a war zone ain't gonna cut it. And if you're having trouble getting 22-year-olds into the zone, volunteering, whatever, what make you think somebody 42 is going to walk in and want to join and then have kids ordering them around. I know you must be out your damn mind. Straight up. But this is what happens when pride, egotism, arrogancy are at the forefront of leadership. Thieving, alibi, conniving. People are tired. This is what it is now. No more. No more lying. No more, how you say, we're free. The patriotism. No, people are broke. They have no money. And we're watching a government cut their legs off time and time and time again. And then want to turn around, hey, join our military and come in and serve your country. Are you out of your... No. This generation is saying, nah, negative. It ain't going to happen. We ain't going nowhere. And if you ain't paying us right, no. See, they're not interested in being expendable assets. All right? Which was an attitude put forth by former Secretary of State. Some of you don't go back that far, but his name was Henry Kissinger. And that was a quote from the 1987 B-movie sci-fi classic led by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator, where Carl Weathers, aka Apollo Creed, says to Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, Major Dutch Alan Schaefer, you're an expendable asset, and I use you to get the job done. Got it? And see, but that was from a quote made by Henry Kissinger on the Vietnam soldiers that were going over to fight a war that he and Korean War and veterans, Korean War draft dodgers avoided. Think about that for a second. Someone telling you that you're an expendable asset, that your life, your well-being, you're just somebody to be used, chewed up, and if you get shot and you die, well, that's a loss that we can take. Man, the arrogance. And no one is interested in that anymore. Or the whole attitude of the very misquoted one-time president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Sure, on first hearing that, you might think he means, hey, don't you come looking for any handouts or any expectancies from this country. No, the only thing you're supposed to be doing is getting ready to serve, even if we take whatever we give you. But that's not what John Kennedy meant. What he meant was, if you're not working and putting in the work and the elbow grease, don't come looking for it. Don't come asking what the country can do for you. But if you're doing things and you're putting in the work and getting it in, you are supposed to get your fair share. And he felt so strongly about that and started listening to the black leadership of the time, real leaders, that is, the Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X's. Oh, that's why he wound up getting taken out. But see, that quote has been perverted by other administrations throughout the years. But this generation is that generation that's letting it be known, no. We're not going to fall for the okie doke like you, Generation X. we're not going to fall for the okie doke like you baby boomers. And here it is, the baby boomer generation in particular, our mother and father's generation, y'all are a big freaking pain in the ass. I'm going to say it just like that. Here we got a bunch of broke down, crotchety old men. And let me be careful. I'm not anti-senior citizen, but what I am anti is greedy, broke down, old crotchety men who, when they were young, were a bunch of draft dodging punks hiding under their father's jock strap and their mother's skirt, all out here starting wars and static that they themselves are not going to be enough lead, but want to chill out, eat breakfast, and watch World Wrestling Federation while your sons and daughters are out here dodging bombs and bullets. So, seventh answer, when you're ready, cue up the next video as the conversation continues. Because like I said, we go out here and we get the evidence. And we're going to have other people tell you what they're thinking and why they feel what they're thinking. Because apparently, for some of you, even some of our astute listeners here, some of y'all get rankled and bent out of shape because the seventh answer and I refuse to be done. Because we refuse to give you fluff. Because we're not giving you anything dumb and foolish, some of you get rankled. But that's your problem. That's something that you have to work out. So we're gonna, as I said, we have gone out here and we're gonna give you other attitudes and opinions on the lighter side. You know? And listen to what they are truly thinking. Because by listening to what they're telling you and what they think and what they see, something big, as the gentleman said in the previous video you just watched, something big is coming. Something big is definitely coming. Now, let's take a gander at this, you all. Here we go. Fair use. Fair use.
Multiple casualties hidden from the United States of America in that initial strike where multiple U.S. service members were killed. But before we even get to any of that, Donald Trump on the campaign trail yesterday declaring victory. One might even say mission accomplished in the war in Iran. Let's take a listen.
Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You know, you can only do. And we've won. Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. But we won. But they gave me a list of names of generals. Sir, you can pick the name you'd like, sir. I said, the name of what? The name of the attack on Iran, sir. And they gave me like 20 names. And I'm like falling asleep. I didn't like any of them. Then I see Epic Fury. I said, I like that name. I like that name.
We won. And if you want to see how much we're winning, let's put A2 up there on the screen. This just came out yesterday. The Iranian drone attack in Kuwait that killed U.S. service members in the early hours of the war was more severe than previously known. Dozens suffering injury that included brain trauma, shrapnel trauma, burns. More than 30 remained in the hospital yesterday. This was published yesterday with battle injuries. 1 at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, 12 at Walter Reed here in the DMV area, 25 at Landstuhl in Germany. Of those, about 20 arrived on a C-17 military transport aircraft at Landstuhl on Tuesday with injuries the military designated as, quote, urgent and requiring evacuation. More than 100 medical personnel were sent to Landstuhl 2 assists. What's even worse is that we can see how they initially described the attack. Let's put that one up there on the screen. This is what they said on the day. As of 9:30 a.m., 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action. 5 are seriously wounded. Several others sustained, quote, minor shrapnel injuries and concussions and are in the process of being returned to duty. A straight up lie there from the Pentagon. And if you want to see how bad it was, a surviving U.S. service member, Sergeant First Class Corey Hooks, actually described the moment that drone struck the Tactical Operations Center and what it was like. You can see the injuries that he sustained. Let's take a listen.
I remember turning my head to the left and I seen the nose of that drone pop through. And as soon as it did, I knew what it was. It was either a missile or a drone. So I turned to my right, and that's when it blew up and just blew the whole building apart. Life is precious. Life is short. You never know when you're going to be put in a situation like we were in.
Wow.
It's tragic. Sergeant Hicks, I mean, you could see the injuries to his face, to his hand. He's lucky to survive. But there's so many of his other, comrades who are now literally, languishing in hospitals. And they lied to us. They lied to us completely. Also, we should note, I think at least 5 were killed in this attack. We don't know the exact number, but don't forget about the other recent service members who we've learned about who were killed in attacks on Saudi Arabia. What's the wounded number there? What's the wounded number for all the bases that we're about to show people, which have been attacked, some 17 different bases or sites from the United States military, where we've had untold billions of damage, but more importantly, wounded service members. We have no idea the number of casualties. We know that the current number is somewhere around 150. That was just a couple of days ago, but you can see right there what the cover-up is currently happening right now, and it only continues to escalate.
Well, and here's the thing, like all governments lie. And actually democratic governments tend to, like small d democratic governments actually tend to lie more because they have to bring their population on board. So they have more of an incentive to lie to their population. But this is something different from the Trump administration. And what's different here, and we've seen this, it reminds me of the lies around Renee Good, the lies around Alex Preddy, the lies that we've seen routinely from this administration, where they have to know that the video is going to emerge. They have to know that the service members who survived are going to come out and speak. They have to know that the family members who lost loved ones or whose loved ones are now gravely injured, not just with minor boo-boos, the way they tried to frame it to begin with, are going to ultimately speak. They know this information is going to come out, and yet they lie anyway. That is what is so incredibly wild to me. And so, I think a lot of people are being treated as conspiracy theorists for saying, like, are we getting the real story about the overall casualty number, the number of deaths, but specifically the number of injuries? And now, those concerns about the fact that this government just routinely lies about even things that are going to come out eventually, that concern has been completely validated. And so there's no reason that you should trust any of the numbers that they tell you. There's no reason you should trust anything they tell you, because if they'll lie about something so basic and so essential and so sensitive as the number of U.S. service members who were seriously injured in this initial attack, they will lie to you about absolutely anything. And so we have no idea. I mean, this is the information they're giving us now, but this one attack, this has been, reported out. Some reporter was able to get their hands on this, but we have no idea the overall number of casualties. We have no idea the amount of damage that has been done to our bases in the region. We have no idea how much. There was a leak yesterday, to the Congress was briefed that this has already cost us over $11 billion. The amount that they are hiding from the American people, just, you can't even begin to wrap your head around at this point.
It's so unbelievable. And just to show you the scale, let's go and put the next one up there on the screen. At least 17 U.S. sites were damaged in the war with Iran. These are all satellite images from March 2nd. Here's another thing I want to flag to everybody, and I want to very much call out these private satellite companies. For years, news organizations, I used to work at one of them. We had deals with these private satellite companies where they would give you up-to-date satellite imagery of some of these sites which were involved, let's say, with the military. Out of the blue, all of these private satellite companies just said, you know what, we're going to go on a 2-week delay. So we have no idea what's actually happening in the battlefield. So this is just what we know about, which have been damaged. So let me read some of the list. 17 U.S. sites damaged in the war with Iran. Iran has responded with installations, quote, several of which have been struck more than once. Their analysis is currently based on high-resolution commercial sat imagery from a couple of days ago, remember, so it's not even currently up to date. Thousands of missiles, many of them include in Kuwait, we have the Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Jordan, and Iraq. All of these are U.S. sites where you have either U.S. service member or U.S. personnel, which are currently there. You have drone attacks, you have missile attacks. Perhaps the most important ones are some of the THAAD radar battery sites, which we've talked about here previously. And you can actually see the damage. And again, this is some 10 days ago that we're able to see the damage. So God only knows what it is today when you have escalating actions all across the entire Middle East, hotels where U.S. personnel are staying. Remember, still haven't got any casualty update on that. We know from the DOD's admission that there are all these service members which are staying in these high-priced hotels. Tons of these hotels have been struck day after day. A couple of them were struck just yesterday, right? And you have to imagine whenever they're striking at certain floors, it doesn't seem to be random. There's very obviously maybe Russian intelligence, Iranian intelligence, Chinese intelligence about where some of these people are, in addition to the exact coordinates in many of their civilian infrastructure. The Dubai airport, by the way, let me make sure everybody knows this. There's a story out literally today where a British tourist who filmed Iranian missiles in Dubai is now facing 2 years in prison and being charged with a cybercrime offense. So remember this, you have no idea what's going on in Dubai. You have no idea what's going on in Qatar. We barely have any idea what's going on in Israel. The video we're able to show you soon that Israel allowed to be released is only because they're going to use that video as a pretext for a massive ground invasion of Lebanon. So everything that we're able to see is totally controlled by all of these governments. And these commercial satellite images are the closest that we get, only from 10 days ago, showing damage to all of these different sites. Our friend Brandon Weichert, he described one of these bases as he's like, it looks like Gaza, it looks like Khan Yunis. And this is just from Iranian drones and missiles. So, I mean, God help our troops who are stationed and have to sustain fire underneath these circumstances. We're going to talk here in a little bit about the oil tankers. I mean, it's apocalyptic. Not just Tehran. You have ships in the middle of the ocean just getting struck and going up in flames. Those storage facilities in Oman. I think 10 different countries were involved in an attack yesterday. 10 were embroiled in the war. It's a full-blown world war now. We have troops, covered up. It is a nightmare.
Possibility of it spilling over to the Horn of Africa as well, because Israel wants to take up a position there in order to hit back at the Houthis, who may also be joining the conflict, it appears. So it's an absolute mess. And to Sagar's point, these are all of them are authoritarian, and to include Israel, are authoritarian countries. And so, they are not allowing anyone to post the damage because for them, it's embarrassing. For the Iranians, there's a different incentive where, we actually see more of the damage there because they want to show the brutality of the U.S. and Israeli attacks. For the U.S., a big part of the goal here is to save face. I mean, that's a big part of what the risk is for the U.S. in this conflict, which is already they have sustained significant damage in terms of our ability to project that we are invincible, that you can't mess with us, that you don't mess with us, that we are the big bully on the block. And so they are highly incentivized to hide all of the damage to our facilities, to our radars, to our THAAD battery systems, also to, our service members themselves. One more indication of how high the casualty numbers are. And this had come out a few days ago and was one of the things that people were kind of scratching their heads about. Put this next thing up on the screen. Landstuhl, this largest U.S. military hospital abroad, paused some services like labor and delivery because of the war with Iran, meaning that they were having to take in enough injured service members that they had to prioritize that over some of the other normal services like labor and delivery that, any hospital, but this one included, would typically offer. So that came out a number of days ago and people were going, okay, well, if we're only being told by the government there were just this handful of minor wounds, this doesn't track with the largest military hospital abroad having to completely cease certain operations in order to care for wounded service members. We also have an update on, now put A8 up on the screen. Obviously, news organizations had already all but proved that the strike on the girls' school that killed some 168 young children, young
And
girls
so,
that came directly
Can
from
I come
the
in?
US. Well, now we have reporting that our own preliminary inquiry that is happening in.
Yeah, I hope you're getting all this. And Jay Snake, I know. But you gotta love him. All right. Yes, big Mississippi, we're watching the news. We're seeing the sword of judgment come down. We're talking about it now in the whole now. But Jay Snake, behave. But yo, I hope you out there are getting and hearing what these two individuals are saying. All right? Catch what they're telling you. The U.S. is getting decimated out there. See, again, with all the evil that they got going on here in this country, the police out of control, gunning down unarmed black men, women, and children continue. What do you think is going to start happening? ICE and their Nazi Gestapo tactics, beating down people here on American shores. What do you think was going to happen when you go into a whole other country who've been ready for you, waiting for you? And did you hear what the man said? That these bombings of American sites, maybe courtesy of Russian and China spying, which means that Russia and China are on board backing Iran. They are spying and laying information to Iran on where American targets are. What you think was going to happen, man? What you think is going to happen? For years, America, you've been going out here, betraying people, speaking with a forked tongue, making promises you don't keep, and you think these people haven't been laying in wait for you? And now you up against an adversary that letting it be known and showing, yo, we ain't the ones. And we told you, we've been waiting for you. 17 sites hit. Massive casualties. And you wondering why now they're up in the recruitment age? You wondering why now that draft is about to be reenacted? See, they thought they're just going to walk on in there, take what they want with all that John Wayne attitude, crapola, and now they're finding out, no, it's over. And you wait till what's about to erupt right here on this American shores. Go to work, Seventh Dancer, go to work.
Internally here also found the U.S. to be at fault. And it's still a question about exactly how this happened. There appears to have been, sort of old intelligence that was used to target the school. The school site used to be part of a military base. Obviously, now it is no longer part of a military base. It was a children's school, a girls' school. And there continues to be a question over whether or not Claude, the Anthropic's AI, was implicated in helping to create this faulty information. And when you come up with these targets, this isn't just like a one-step sign-off. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to go through multiple layers of approval, including checking the most recent satellite data to make sure that what you're targeting is what you think you are targeting. So still huge questions about how this happened. And then, of course, the fact that there's reporting that this is a double tap strike adds, increasingly dire questions about exactly what the hell happened here. Trump was asked about this and continues to pretend like he has no idea about it. He doesn't know what's going on. You recall that previously he had tried to blame Iran and claim that they had somehow gotten their hands on a Tomahawk missile and then bombed their own girls' school. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Trump. This is A7.
For the strike on the school in Iran, a new report says the military investigation has found it was the United States that struck the school.
I don't know about it.
Don't know about it. So still just complete Israeli answer there.
Yeah, and you can say very unequivocally now that you can not only know how this happened, but you also need a serious investigation. Also, didn't even know this. Apparently, Pete Hegseth fired a bunch of the people who were in the office who were responsible for investigating civilian casualties.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is
Tracks.
even though this did happen, what we'll now see with the preliminary finding. The big question is, they said the preliminary finding said it was passed on from the Defense Intelligence Agency. Who did it? Who is responsible for updating the target list? Everybody knows that there's a shelf where they just keep all these targets in Iran. So was this target list created in 2013 and never updated despite the commander-in-chief? And they just pulled it off the shelf and plug and played it, because that's a complete failure. In fact, the person who was in charge of that office, or whoever had that portfolio on their desk, let's say at the chairman of the joint, the way it works, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is they have like 200 people who work for them. One or two of them is going to be the head of the Iran desk, and they're responsible for coordinating all this stuff and keeping it up to date. Need to know the name. The guy's got to go. He's got to be at the very minimum fired and probably be investigated for his responsibilities of his duties, because that is what a culture with real responsibility in the chain of command actually looks like.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you have a, chaotic moron in charge of the Pentagon, and, total incompetence and bloodlust, and, not caring at all about the rules of engagement, and thinking that these sort of like checks on military power are like woke DEI bullshit. And now you've got 168 little girls who are dead and can't be brought back.
It might be one of the worst atrocities the United States has been directly involved in years. I'm trying to think back to 2003. I'm sure there were one or two in the very early days of Iraq, and there were a few, the Kunduz hospital and all that. But this, to be on the very first day, it should give you a lot of pause about how this entire war has already gone. And so whenever they tell you, oh, we struck 2,000 new targets, over the last week, it's like, were they all legitimate? Were they all part of the same target set? Do you have any processes in place to make sure that this isn't going to happen again? Because, this one is particularly egregious because it's a girls' school. God only knows about the rest of them. And then even inside of Tehran, it's such a chaotic situation inside the entire country. Are they even able to, go into have cameras there like they were originally? Again, same thing. We have no idea. So be very careful about trusting what the government is saying, and also what the UAE and all these other places are saying. There's an immense amount of censorship, but we could say this at the very beginning, or at the very least, the United States lied to the American people about the casualties that initially came out on the very first day of the war.
And the conversation continues. You see, the killing of Ali Khamenei and that bombing of that girls' school is why Iran ain't trying to hear no ceasefire. See, you know what it is? White America, for all you my Caucasian listeners, see, you've been kicking off in our behinds for so long, and you've gotten used to the "we shall overcome," chanting "no justice, no peace," but we're not getting justice, but giving you peace. The empty words and the freedom rides, that you think that other nations are just like us. But even that whole paradigm is changing. But for a long time, you've been getting away with a lot of dirt done to us. And you think other nations are like us. But they're showing you, no, we're not. No, they're not. You bombed and killed 100 plus of their little girls. And you killed their leader. And speaking of leaders, where on earth is Benjamin Netanyahu? We've been seeing old videos of him, AI videos with 6 fingers and all that other foolishness. But where's Benjamin Netanyahu? But that's another story. My point is, though, the killing of Ali Khamenei and bombing and killing those little girls, nah, you done struck a nerve, a real deep, deep nerve. And not to mention, these people are still harboring anger and grudges behind the murders of Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, Saddam Hussein, and other leaders you've killed that they were in good with, Manuel Noriega. You think these You think they forgot that? But most notably, Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein. They were good money to those people in Iran. And the entire Eastern Hemisphere, they were good money. When Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton killed Muammar, the Eastern Africa and other land masses out there, they have been in derision ever since. So when certain delegates of Iran was saying, yo, come on, we've been waiting for you. And now with Russia and China backing them, we the people are going to feel that pinch. But you know what, like I said, what's about to erupt right here on American shores? We are not going to pretend that we can't see it coming. Over the weekend, last week, we had Pete Hegseth asking for $200 billion more. As of this week, starting Monday. So now, here we are Thursday, March 26th. Ooh, the cuts have been brutal. And it's only, and like I said, it's only going to get worse before it gets any better. But see, now we're presenting the evidence to you and everything else, and now you have, I guess some of you out there, you're going to still feel some kind of way, but we're going to continue on. We got other, again, lighter shades of people telling you what's up and what they think and what's actually happening. So now, are we racist? Do you think that we're bigoted racist? Do you think we're anti-white? No. See, we're not anti anybody's ethnicity. We don't care what color your skin may be or what you think it may be. It ain't about being anti-white. It's about being against anybody who ain't right. If you're not right, black, blue, purple, whatever, we gonna step to you with aggression. That's what we do here in the Lion's Den. We hunt, we pray, and we discombobulate all enemies of the Lord in Christ, unapologetically, both foreign, but especially domestic, through intellectual and effective information, the 7I formula. So please understand, the Lion's Den, we have the John Lennon mentality. Like the Lord gave John Lennon the insight to make the song Let It Be. That's what we're going to do here. We come forth with the B attitude, because we're going to put forth the brutal efficiency of giving you a severe intellectual butt whooping with no mercy. We have the seventh answer. We have the Conan the Barbarian attitude. And if you've never seen Conan the Barbarian, go check it out. Arnold Schwarzenegger. But see, we also have that attitude of the riddle of steel. And if you come asking us, seventh answer, Dark Storm, what is the riddle of steel? Destroy your enemies, show no mercy, and listen to the cries of the liars and kooks and crazies. That's how we giving it up. That's how we roll, unapologetically. Deal with it. Because this is what, for all of you out there, all you liars, kooks and crazies and charlatans, you made us what we are. You made us relentless. You made us deprived. You made us the hunters. And therefore, as the Lord said, hunt, pray, and discombobulate all enemies, all demons walking with earthly feet. You're now on notice. It's what we do. The double-edged sword of the lion's den is unmerciful, relentless, and it's going to cut asunder. It's what we're supposed to do. It's our duty. This is the world we've inherited. Like I said, so all you creeps and crazies, you made us what we are. Don't be mad. And for those of you out there who are too cowardly and don't want to say anything and you just comfortable with your little crumb, get out the way. Move. Just move. We got this, and we're going to continue on. But first, let me see who's talking. I already know who's doing most of the talking right about now. Ah, yes, Big Mississippi. It's over. My double-edged sword doesn't leave and come back void. You misinformed. We're misinformed. I'm misinformed. Big Mississippi. You know, against my better judgment, I want you to tell me how we're misinformed. All right. Considering that when someone is misinformed, they don't have facts, figures, and computations to support what they're saying. Here we are presenting evidence, and more body of evidence. So for you to say that we're misinformed or that I'm misinformed is a misplaced indictment, my friend. But moving on, as the conversation continues, we want you to hit that like and subscribe button. Share this show. Go out there and bring people that you know. For all our avid listeners, bring a friend and invite them in to get this wonderful listening truthality experience. We're going to continue on presenting our evidence. Cue up another video, Seventh Answer. We just want to give it to you straight and let you know that, again, we don't make these things up. We're not making up these talking points. In our day-to-day lives, we converse with other people. We read and listen to other people out here who are in the know and can't be bought and can't be sold. But when we come here with our own conclusions, observations. So, and throughout the years, I want to point this out to you. Big Mississippi, there's no one that has been able to come into the lion's den and challenge the Seventh Answer and I as being harbingers of misinformation. There's been no one in all the time that we've been on the air, and I've been invited in with one-time host JT Raw, that has been able to prove that we are harbingers of disinformation. And what do I mean by that further? There's been no one that has taken us to the court of law and sued us for libel, slander, defamation of their name and character, both professional and private. No one's been able to do these things in all the years that we've been doing what we're doing here, Big Mississippi. I want you to take that under careful consideration. All right? Our 7I formula, there's an eighth one, another I, infallible. When we come here Everything we say is infallible. Why? Because, as the Lord said to Moses, all you got to do is open your mouth, and I'm going to give you what you need to say, when to say it, and how to say it. So no, Brother Django, Big Mississippi, we're not misinformed, not in the least. And for anyone who might think that, now you know. So seventh answer, when you're ready to cue up another video, or you're knowing you and your industry and stuff, you're probably queuing up about 1 million other videos. Huh? But it's cool. But in the meantime, in between time, this is why you need us, y'all. We cannot afford to be lied to no longer. We can't afford to turn a blind eye to all these social spending cuts that are cutting the legs off of we, the people that need our resources. As the spirit we once knew, as Tupac Shakur said, here it is. They have all this money for war, but then suddenly can't feed the poor. And this is exactly why people have woken up out of that dream state, that mirage, and is now seeing, hold on, you all, hold on. And is now seeing America for what she truly is. And as you can see, people seeing it so much, they out there on the hunt for them. That's how deep it is, y'all. So as we continue on, we thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher, and you learning something you're definitely going to. We thank you for trusting us and allowing us to come into, again, your mind, soul, and cipher to inform you, to enlighten you, and inspire you to get out here, check things out for yourself, be aware, be vigilant, be sober, because as a good book said, the devil, like a roaring lion, is out here looking to victimize a lot of people. And this draft, well, when it's put into play, and it's definitely going to be put into play, because they get, as you can hear the numbers, and we getting out there pop, mop, and rock. This war that Israel started and America took up, well, it is not working out. So we're going to continue on. All right, we're going to bring up another video, when the seventh answer is able to do so. And as I said, we're very concerned about what we're seeing. There are a lot of old people out here who need their money. We have worked hard for our SSI. Some of us have become disabled, working ourselves till we're sick. And now you have Pete Hegseth and the Republican and Democratic whore out here cutting into our wealth and resources and much needed monies. Here it is, HUD, the Housing Urban Development, Section 8 and so many, they're getting cut. That's right, yo, man. And you think people gonna want to go out here and fight? Why do you think they cut the Job Corps? Young folks had a place to go, develop skills, find meaningful employment, or could create meaningful employment. They cut that. They took it away. Because they had already foresaw and forecasted in order to get people to comply with the whole draft and what they trying to implement, you have to bring people to their knees. See, what we're looking at is, again, the works of Adolf Hitler Schicklgruber in full effect, Das Wunderkind in full effect. And there were three critical areas that Adolf Hitler said in theory, and in reality, if you cripple people in these three areas, it can make them somewhat possible to control. And that is, I'm not really ready to go. Seventh answer, I'm not really ready for the reparations just yet. If you don't mind, there's a couple other videos on this draft thing I want to go into. This I want to go into in our final in another half an hour, if you don't mind. Okay? If you don't mind. All right. My thing is, getting back on what I was saying, if you cripple education, healthcare, and media information, that is how you can get people to possibly comply with you in controlling them. But now, that's not working now. It's not working because in this powerful information age, the internet has now become that instrument that the revelations of the lies and the trickery can be revealed quicker. You can Google, Yahoo, Chat GPT, and all the other apps that are out there. So all those tricks that you use at one time cannot be used again. And most notably, when you're cutting people off from what they need deliberately, here you have an administration saying, look, I don't want to pay for your operation, so I'm willing to let you die so I can use that money to fund my war that's going to make me a lot of money. Because see, make no mistakes, this war is also being pushed because the trillionaire and billionaire class, they all making money. They're making big money. Stock market manipulations. Finance is not really my forte. But there are others out there who know the deal and are laying out what's happening. But again, even that, the Bible said in the book of James, the 5th chapter, that there's going to come a time where the riches and the money and the economy of these wicked kingdoms is going to become useless and cankered. And we're in that time now. And depriving people and interfering with their well-being is the quickest way to destroy patriotism. No one's going to pledge allegiance to a society that deprives them of what they need because they're greedy. No one's going to pledge allegiance to a society where its leadership has clumsily let it be known what they really think of them. People are not interested in being expendable assets and being used to be shot and cut down for wars and conflicts they didn't start. And here it is, they're not even being paid right. And looking at all the veterans of previous wars, how we're being treated. We're going to keep emphasizing that. In a war fabricated on lies, you're not going to win. This is a new day and time. And all we're doing is continually, all right, continually bringing forth the evidence. We're going to make one more short video on this issue of the draft. Then we're going to move in the final. Oh my God, it's almost about to be 2 hours already. God dog. Anyway, time is flying. But anyway, we're going to get one more presentation. Then we're going to go into this whole issue of reparations. Ayo Ghana, we're watching you. And what you're trying to do right now, we can't have it. We're not going to be having it. But that's next. All right, let me see who's talking real quick. Okay. Ain't nobody with Nathaniel or Johanna's leadership. Okay. You're right, Big Mississippi. Even within our own enclave, wicked Israelites, they're gonna be dealt with. If they're not being dealt with now too, they're gonna be dealt with. You're right. Everything is being revealed bit by bit, piece by piece. I agree with you on that. But as we can move on, we're gonna get one last video on this issue of the draft, what's coming, on the lighter shade. Because again, some of you out there, like I said, it's phenomenal. You're quick to believe somebody else before you believe your own. And as we move on, this deception, see, lying is not going to cut it now. And to the leaders of the society, and I know you're monitoring us and listening to us, listen, run back and tell your president, Pete Hegseth, the vice president, J.D. Vance, and everyone else, listen, lying to the people, depriving the people of their much needed wealth and resources is only going to garner resentment and rebellion. You better tell them. That's our job. We're trying to help you. We're trying to see if you can get maybe like the Lord told Jonah, if you can go to Nineveh and find just about three or four people that are right, I'll spare the city. We're trying to find out if there's some good apples among you out there that want to maybe save America if possible. But then again, as the late great Marvin Gaye said, who can save a world that's destined to die? It's what it is. And so we don't take pleasure, right, in having to come here and lay these truths out. We wish that we did live in a world as we were taught as little kids, Sesame Street, the electric company, everyone gets along. We sing song, hold hands. You get a fair shake. And then one day when it's time for you to go, you go in peace. We really wish that was the kind of world we live in, but we don't. When you get past all that illusion, electric company and Zoom and Sesame Street, nah, we live on Elm Street, nightmare, mind you. And so we no longer are interested in being put in a dream state and suffering peacefully. So seventh answer, let's run this final segment on the draft issue, and then we're going to go into reparations and the Ghana Gambit.
It's sons and daughters, the war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows you that this as leaders.
Yeah, so that just happened. And as I learned right after watching that video, not only is that man a Marine Corps veteran, but he's a current Senate candidate for the Green Party out of North Carolina. And right before somebody sent me that video, I was reading this article about Fox News viewers freaking the F out after Trump said this today about his war in Iran. Quote, if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel. And the responses online were brutal, but nothing like we saw today in that Senate Armed Services. Let's get into it all right after you hit subscribe to Really American Media right here on YouTube. And please go find us on Substack as well. All right, so here's the full video uninterrupted as I was watching it just a few minutes ago.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go. America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows you that as leaders. This is wrong. A reminder to all our please stand up as a Marine. Let's go for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
Oh my God.
Sir, thank you for your service.
The senator broke his hand. The senator broke his hand. Commandant, help him, please. Help him. Commandant. He's a Marine. Somebody come help him.
Control your Senate committee.
Look at you guys. You're robots. You won't even look back. Look at you guys. You're like robots. Oh my God, what is happening? And you're not even looking back. Any of you 4-star generals. Oh my God, what is happening right now? I front robots. Shame. Shame. Oh my God, you guys.
Everybody sit down.
What did I just see? I'm getting out of here.
That's fine. Everybody sit down, please.
Oh my God, what is
That's all.
happening?
Okay, good. No, it's not.
Oh my God.
Stuck.
It's disgusting.
Oh my God, you guys.
So does that hurt? Can you open it up a little bit just to like change the gap? Hey guys, clear the hallways.
Out.
Clear the hallways. Clear the hallways, please. Clear the hallways, please.
Can you help him, please?
Yes, yes. All the places going there. Please through the hallways.
What happened?
Oh my God.
What happened?
His hand got totally smashed. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Why are you here?
Why are you getting arrested?
Palestine, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Palestine will be free.
And what about this war in Iran?
Oh my God.
His arm.
Ah, look, my arm is fucking broke.
Oh my
Arm is
God.
broke. I understand. Don't fight.
Oh my God. Oh, you guys, come on.
I need you to move.
You need to stop.
Okay.
Brian, stop.
He's fighting for you, not for him.
They broke his arm.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's totally broken.
Oh man.
Please, can you get him some kind of medical attention?
Yes, we are.
Oh my God.
You are straight.
Don't let go of my arm before you sit down.
Y'all step back, please. Please move
Can we
back.
get
Keep this
some
walkway
medical
open.
attention?
Who needs her?
No, he broke his arm.
Okay. Would y'all just move aside then? That way people can still exit.
Josie, what happened?
We just witnessed a Marine veteran interrupting the hearing, and they broke his arm.
Why did he interfere?
Because there is a war in Iran, and our military brothers and sisters are going to die for Israel, and we are here to say no. We do not support Israel. We do not want to die for Israel. Stop the war in Iran right now.
And what did they do to him?
They pulled him out, got his arm trapped in a door, broke his arm, tackled him to the ground. It was a very, very intense situation.
The Borg found new ground to assimilate.
Now, what you saw, that's a white man. They did that too. In full dress, uniform, Marine uniform, veteran, seen combat in that Iraq conflict, suffering from severe PTSD, calling it out. And did you see the response? Did you see the response? David Anthony, you're right. Heathen on heathen violence. But look how they attacked them. What did he say that was wrong? Nothing. And again, that's a white man. They did that too. Just showing you where we are at. Many of us out here with good sense know this war in Israel, America is now the United States of Israel. But let me be careful. But the bottom line is they broke his arm. That shows you where we're at. The truth, justice, the American way, there's no way. And so we're going to conclude now. As the conversation continues, we're going to shift gears going into our final hour. All right. We're going to be going over to all things in the area of reparations. Now, for a very long time, there have been a lot of proponents out here fighting for foundational Black Americans, Negro, those of us of so-called Negro and Indian descent, the children of Israel, the real Jews, the Bible speaks of, whatever nam de gore, that have been fighting for us in our issue on reparations, lineage-based. And we have one proponent, Mr. Tariq Nasheed, who coined the phrase foundational Black Americans because he and others in his circle foresaw the potential of a hijacking of the reparations movement by outsiders if we were to gain momentum. For I myself, and here in my neck of the woods, has been a proponent, an active, proponent in the battle for reparations and whatnot. And we are now seeing, because of in these last 5 years or more, with the momentum that we are garnering and gaining, there are now all kinds of opposers trying to creep themselves into the movement, trying to usurp it, overtake it, and sabotage it. Now, yesterday, March 25th, we had in New York City, United Nations, Ghana. The nation of Ghana and his president, John Mahama, go before the United Nations delegate talking about the African slave trade was the worst crime in the history of the world, which is true. But I want to emphasize what he said. The African slave trade and captivity, yeah, he put all that in there. Listening is an art. It's the worst. Man, look, here we go. Just like we have enemies, domestic, that have been trying to mess up and destroy the reparations movement. Now here we have international enemies. Now all of a sudden, because of the powerful movement and everything we've been doing, they want to come in. So rather than me talk about it, because I can go into it, we can go into it deep, but let's let someone else brief you, and then we're going to come right back as the conversation continues.
Family. So the president of Ghana flew out to New York City to discuss global reparations at the UN for all people of African descent. And that's a bunch of nonsense, because what he's really trying to do is undermine our FBA, justice claim in the form of cash reparations. See, once we on the Black FBA grassroots got to talk about reparations in the mainstream public lexicon, people come trying to tether, on us and what we're doing, because they see us making, positive strides and gaining momentum. And this damn, Ghanaian president ain't nothing more than a tether, because he's doing what a tether does. You know what I mean? Trying to assert himself in the FBA needs and affairs, and he's planning on undermining it at the end of the day. If, they get a hold of that, which they won't, you know what I mean? But if they get a hold of reparations, they'll drive it right into the ground, because you can't give, reparations to people, based on race. This is why we going at it through lineage base. And if they want to, go at reparations, these other nations, go at it yourself. It don't involve us real FBA brothers and sisters. We ain't got a damn thing to do with, the continent of Africa. We're our own separate, unique people. Our ethnogenesis was forged over here on American soil through resistance, fighting racism, white supremacy, and standing on business, unlike these foreign fleeing tethers. So we got not a damn thing to do with Africa, and this Ghanaian president is being backed by the Congressional Tether Caucus, and that's tethered out, so they ain't got a problem, pushing this BS and nonsense. But the thing is, Africa, if we really want to get down to the nitty gritty, they was complicit in the slavery of our FBA ancestors as well. So once we get our justice claim from the U.S. government, we might got to spin the block and go after, these African nations for reparations, truth be told, So I got the audio and the video of, this damn, tether president over there in Ghana trying to, finesse and double dip and undermine our FBA justice claim, which ain't going to work. You know what I mean? And one thing that this, tether Ghanaian president didn't expect was, the FBA family up there in New York was standing on a bunch of business. So we're going to walk through and, show some clips of the FBA family standing on business, speaking truth to power. And we're going to, expose this tether Ghanaian president for being what he is, a tether. A definition of a tether is, trying to come in, cosplay, undermine, put your nose in affairs into our business, while undermining, foundational Black Americans, and this is how, we've been getting undermined for years, through the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, them organizations never were about foundational Black Americans. You know what I mean? In fact, they advocate more for immigrants and their rights more than us. So we need to, really sit down and, think of a strategy, to abolish these, people, or at least get them to stop representing us, because they got dual allegiances and they push a little bit, they push more, so for the immigrant class than us, they get out here and advocate for immigrant rights all day, every day. But when it comes to lineage-based reparations, they quiet on that tip, unless it's, where though everybody get to have their hands in the pot of gumbo, and damn that, you know what I mean? These people, didn't stand on no business. Nobody was enslaved in America except us foundational Black Americans. And ain't nobody got a justice claim for reparations, not in the United States. If they want to, pursue reparations, they go do it on the back end. Stop trying to, use us foundational Black Americans, our suffering and what our ancestors been through to do so. So I got the audio and the video, and we're going to make it do what it do, family. Fair use. And I want y'all, to look at this video, family, because the normal suspects, are in this video who are getting broken off with butter biscuits,
Truth begins with language, with the power that words hold to shape consciousness and to shift perspectives.
That damn Ghanaian president ain't nothing more than a tether, trying to undermine us, speak for our people. He don't represent our people. He should have kept his narrow, musty ass over there in Ghana, you know what I mean? Because we ain't got nothing to do with Ghana affairs, and in fact, them African nations were complicit in the slavery of our FBA ancestors as well. So we never forgot that.
To propel an action or other. There's no such thing as a slave. There were human beings who were trafficked and then enslaved by people who believed they could.
And y'all helped facilitate slavery too. Y'all was trying to floss, to the white supremacists that was come over there. They were trying to, y'all were both complicit in it, so yeah, they always try to negate, the hand and the role that they played in it, but they were flossing to the white supremacist slave masters, like, yeah, y'all buy this off me, and then while y'all at it, I got these slaves in the back. I want y'all to buy this. They was flossing, trying to, show off, in terms of them having slaves, and that's a bunch of nonsense, but they won't speak about that.
Own those human beings as chattels.
Look at that. He getting broken off with butter biscuits. Al Sharpton sitting there. Whenever you see Al Sharpton in the mix, that thing is, going to get undermined and finessed, because he ain't about, real FBA brothers and sisters' interests, A lot of them, minority coalition, immigration, this, that, and the other, rainbow.
Yeah. See, here what's happening, right? Now, you have Benjamin Crump, the professional ambulance chaser, Benjamin Crump, and Al Sharpton being the face of the FBA, sitting their behinds up in here, being the facilitators of bringing in this Ghanaian president and Ghana and other African nations now to try to make it the African reparations movement. For the last 3 to 4 years, Al Sharpton has been a big, huge proponent speaking out against Black Americans getting reparations under the New York Reparations Coalition Task Force, with the attitude being, and this Ghanaian president said it himself, "Oh, this is not about a check." What do you mean it's not about a check? It's always about money. Coming from the word reparation, which means to repair the evil and damage that was done to a nation. But they always come with that it's not about a check. But if it's not about a check, then why is Ghana trying to get involved with this? And Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump are in the forefront. See, this is history repeating itself, because see, how did the state of Israel come about? They used two niggas. I hate to say it that way, but two niggas, two traitors. One named Ralph Bunch and one named Charles White, to go throughout the African nations to bribe them or attempt to bribe them to allow these Europeans to come in and take over the land of Israel. And so here it is now, history repeating itself, when you have Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, an admitted spy, for the FBI and admitted he is spy for the FBI, okay? At the forefront, trying to bring in people who have nothing to do with this movement of reparations. For the last 40 or more years, Ghana was nowhere to be found. Now, all of a sudden, with the momentum that Tariq Nasheed and so many other movements out here are making, but especially Mr. Nasheed, now all of a sudden, everybody and mama want to get involved. Run the video, Seventh Answer.
Gang rights, all of which, don't benefit, real FBA brothers and sisters, he on that democratic, plantation, that hamster wheel. So whenever you see Al Sharpton, it ain't about nothing. It's a nothing burger.
As their personal property. The entire transatlantic slave trade was designed to deny African people
Look at that, family.
Their humanity.
Ben Crump up in the mix, and the only time you see Ben Crump is when it's time to do the Birdman hand rubs, when some kind of injustice gets done to, black folks. He come out there trying to represent them, you know what I mean, which is a bunch of nonsense. I don't like Ben Crump, He sees black folks, getting injustice to him, and the only thing he sees is damn dollar signs. So the hell with Ben Crump too, you know what I mean? Because he's down with the DNC.
Small business owner, let your bill pay work for your business. Pay your business bills with your
And that denial was premised on a racial hierarchy with no basis in fact or science, a racial hierarchy that deemed whiteness superior and blackness inferior. So when discussing slavery and its resulting institutions and practices, we must always start by reclaiming racial equality, the dignity of Africans, the humanity of our ancestors who were enslaved.
That's not your ancestor that was enslaved. That's our foundational Black American ancestors. We ain't got nothing to do with Africa, and I don't appreciate him, keep saying Africans, you know what I mean? Because we ain't some generic Africans. We had a unique ethnogenesis that was forged over here on American soil. You know what I mean? He just trying to finesse our reparations because he see us gaining positive traction, momentum, and headway. But it ain't gonna happen because that'll never work, making it, race-based. This is why we real FBA brothers and sisters, we stick it to lineage-based reparations. And ain't nobody else entitled to reparations, not over here in America, but us foundational Black Americans. This is
but Seventh Answer, let me come in.
Undermine our reparations and double dip, and take the bag for themselves, because if Africa did it, we'd never see that bag.
And as a
but see, hold on. This ain't the first time. But hold on, see, this is not the first time this has happened. Okay? Let me take you back to 2023. I'm going to remind you all. Out in San Francisco, California. Some of you out there in Cali, y'all know what I'm talking about when I bring this out. But let's not forget that in 2023, you had the Reverend Amos Brown, head of the NAACP San Francisco chapter. All right? Reject a $5 million per person proposal by the state of California to be given to Black people, foundational Black Americans, $5 million. And this Amos Brown skunk, along with other chapters of the NAACP, ran an interference saying that no, $5 million isn't enough, which to this day still got a lot of people rankled. We ain't forgot, but hold on, $5 million is not enough money. But he never did come back and say, well, we want 8 million or 10 million. He just said, no, we reject the 5 million and that's it. But you know what he did do? Let me tell you what the NAACP, which is supposed to be for the advancement of Black folk, did. He said, no, what we need We need more public housing programs, cultural centers, and educational program, which is pure bullshit. Excuse me now, I'm gonna cut loose a little bit, y'all. I'm sorry. But this here gets my goat. With $5 million, you can buy your own home, buy your own education. We don't need no vouchers. But I'm gonna remind you though, because see, this is why you need a Lion's Den, and this is why we on deck. But when Amos Brown and the NAACP San Francisco chapter pulled that okie doke, what had just happened back in February of 2023, I'm going to tell you. You had Wells Fargo contribute $50 million to the NAACP. And the chapters in LA, with the governor of LA, at the forefront. What's that scumbag's name again? Oh my God. I just got brain freeze. But anyway, his name will come to me. But anyway, along with the governor of LA, or California, that is. Yeah, that's right. Boy, they came in and sabotaged. So what we're looking at right now with this Ghana thing, and with Al Sharpton and Ben Crump a part of it, the same hustle is getting ready to come into play. Because how are you going to have a nation that was, along with the Lememba tribe and other tribes in Africa, who sold Israelites, not African Israelite, black Jews, into slavery? How they now going to talk about we want reparations based upon race? It's not about race, it's lineage. See, this is exactly the same finesse that he did with the civil rights movement. When Martin Luther King had outlined specifics for black people, solely black people that we were being deprived of. As soon as he was assassinated, Lyndon B. Johnson, Jesse Side Action Jackson, Ralph Abernathy, and others sat down and restructured the whole deal on the civil rights movement, which now included women, people of sexual orientation, and other little additives. And the biggest recipient under DEI in the civil rights movement was white women who hijacked the whole movement. But that's only after Martin Luther King was assassinated. And again, Jesse Side Action Jackson, Andrew Young, I'm going to add more, Andrew Young, Ralph Abernathy, and others in that Southern Christian Conference formulation came in and let the hijacking take place, and black folks got cheated out of what was supposed to be solely theirs. Nothing new under the sun. But see, now, people like myself, this young man, and other, we on our job, and we not having it. Go ahead, run the video, Seventh Dancer.
Our own humanity. I speak these words today not only for Ghana, but also in solidarity with the rest of Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America, and the wider diaspora, and indeed all people of good conscience throughout the world.
and they already got their things, you know, that they're pursuing reparations in the Caribbean and things like that. You know what I mean? And if y'all want to pursue reparations for yourself, do it at your own accord, but stop trying to tie real foundational Black American brothers and sisters to this nonsense, because we don't stand in alignment nor agreement with it. You know, we ain't attached to no damn African nations. You know, we ain't even a part of the diaspora. If you want to get down to the nitty gritty, we're our own unique people. You know what I mean? And I keep hearing this, you know, false narrative of there being some, you know, shared history and things like this, a shared suffering or some of that nature. And we ain't got no damn shared history. They come from a, you know, history of foreign fleeing tethers. We come from a history of people that stood on business, you know, that fought the system of racism, white supremacy with resistance, you know, and never ran, never fled, never will. So we ain't got nothing in common with these damn foreign fleeing tethers. Stop trying to make your story our story. You know, we standing on lineage business, you know, and ain't nobody gonna stop that momentum.
This is Jack. He's an entrepreneur, and he wants to
This resolution is a pathway to healing and reparative justice. This resolution is a safeguard against forgetting. We stand united as Africans, whether on the continent or any part of the world.
And we ain't Africans. We keep, you know, saying that we foundational Black Americans. We had an ethnogenesis on American soil. We became a new group, you know, and if so much we some damn Africans, where was y'all, you know, when our FBA ancestors, you know, was going through slavery, injustice, Jim Crow? I didn't see, y'all didn't pull up and help us fight no racism, white supremacy. You stood your narrow asses over there on the continent of Africa, and that's where you should take your narrow asses on back to, if you ask me.
And also, let me add something. Let me add. Listen to the word. Listen to the words.
And restore the dignity and humanity of victims of.
Now listen to his words. In Africa and other parts of the world, he said. First off, this means Africans in Africa and other parts. See, notice how he ain't saying Black American, African American. You notice he ain't saying that. See the word. See, this is why Tariq Nasheed, you know, you had O'Shea Jackson known as Ice Cube, and so many others back away and separate. They see the Dr. Claude Anderson and so many, they see this okie doke and they foresaw it coming. Ghana has nothing to do with this issue. And they were one of the biggest ports where we were sold into slavery. But now, courtesy of Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, here you got this going on. The Congressional Black Caucus always selling us out. Always. Run the video, Seventh Dancer.
The slave trade. This is a resolution of destiny.
And no people in the world went through, you know, what us foundational Black Americans went through. They might have went through slavery, you know, and things like that, but they didn't go to it to the extent we did, and they ain't got a history of, you know, fighting racism and injustice. You know what I mean? When the going gets tough, these people flee. We've always been here on our homeland, which is America. We never ran, never fled, never will, and we the only people that stand up to the system of racism, white supremacy consistently. These other groups of people, they flee from it, take a knee and bow down to it. And damn that, you know, these people not like us.
And I hope all of you will vote tomorrow to establish truth so that together we can pass this historic resolution.
And they trying to vote today, family, up there in the New York City at the United Nations, but it ain't gonna get passed because you know, they trying to make it race based, and that'll never work. You know what I mean? Because yeah, that just won't work. That's why we've, going the route of lineage based, and ain't nobody else entitled to reparations, not over here in America, but us foundational Black Americans. And if they want to pursue it, do it on your accord. Stop trying to incorporate us foundational Black Americans, because what this Ghanaian president is trying to do right here, he's being the definition of a tether, trying to insert himself into our affairs and business. And he ain't got no good intentions for us. Only thing he's trying to do is undermine it and keep the bag for himself.
And finally, acknowledge the full horrors of these transgressions against humanity of the approximately 15 million human beings who were enslaved.
Yeah, family, that's a bunch of nonsense. He need to take his tether ass on, back home to Africa, but let me show y'all the pushback, the FBA pushback and resistance. Some of these videos I'm gonna have to speed up in all actuality, family, because they play music, but here go this tether again, that tether Ghanaian president. So we gonna show this real quick and get this out the way. And what they was trying to do up there, also from me doing my little homework and due diligence, they was trying to do some ceremony over the ancestors, and they better not do no ceremony over our FBA ancestors, because our FBA ancestors, not like them. They stood on business. And truth be told, they do a ceremony over our ancestors might be trying to get their lick back, you know what I mean? And, get some retaliation, moving and shaking, because our FBA ancestors wasn't like these foreign fleeing tethers. We come from, resistance, standing on business, and fighting racism, injustice, and oppression.
Everyone keeps asking me how I do my podcast alone. The answer, Riverside. I get high quality podcast recordings right from my room. And I'm not even using expensive equipment. Watch this. Riverside turns my recording into social clips automatically. It even creates thumbnails and writes the description. So I can...
Amongst people of African descent throughout the diaspora, as well as indigenous Africans on the continent, the collective ritual.
He keep throwing that out there, all people of African descent, and we ain't no Africans as foundational Black Americans. We had a unique ethnogenesis, and, stop trying to attach our struggle to everyone else's, so you can, copycat and piggyback off of, the fly things and our ancestors did over here on American soil, and fighting the system of slavery, because when we was going through the system of slavery, y'all damn, foreign fleeing tether didn't pull up and help us fight it. If it wasn't for us real FBA brothers and sisters getting codified, and standing on some real damn FBA business, we would have never got out of it. You know what I mean? Y'all was sitting y'all narrow asses over there, getting broken off, to sell our people out. So we got to keep our eyes on that aspect. They always try to negate that and, blame it on the white supremacists. And we can't let them get away with that. Them African nations, were complicit in the slavery of our FBA ancestors as well.
Surrounding death are a communal experience, from its announcement to its recognition through ceremony. We travel to Africa, from the top of the continent to the bottom. In most cities, towns, and villages, you will see notices of people's death. Not small obituaries in newspapers, but flyers, posters, and billboards plastered all around.
Okay, I'm sorry, Seventh. Let me come in, Seventh Answer. Let me come in, please.
Not just immediate relatives, but also
When you're ready.
extended family members, whether local or living abroad.
Yeah, family, these people not like us.
I want y'all to listen again intently to what the man said. And if you didn't see, listen how he keeps saying Africa, Africa, but he ain't saying nothing about the suffering of slavery in America. You see how he's not talking about what happened to the people that got burnt, lynched, fed to alligators and crocodiles and everything. He's not saying jack bone about America and the suffering. Peep what he keeps saying. Africa, the world, nigga. Stop. And this is why. Okay. I am so sick to death of all these sellouts. and skunks among our people who always try to find a way to undermine. And I'm heated on this one here, man. For 40 plus years since this reparations took legs, Ghana or nobody else was involved. And now all of a sudden, courtesy of Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, Ghana is looking to insert and be in the fore. Man, let me calm down. Get the hell out of here with that. That's not going to happen. It ain't. Not on my watch. And those of us who know what time it, not on our watch. We ain't having it. That's going to be, and you can take that how it's being said. Real talk. Go ahead, Seventh Answer.
They always, trying to, undermine us and, get involved in our business and affairs. And we don't appreciate that, they should keep their narrow asses on over there in Africa and stop trying to represent, real FBA brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? Because they don't speak for us, Our reparations business that we taking care of with the U.S. government got nothing to do with all of the diaspora. And damn that, we ain't even a part of the diaspora, we staking out our own identity, which was forged over here on American soil through a unique ethnogenesis that got nothing to do with, these damn African nations. Them people not like us. They come from foreign, they come from foreign backgrounds. They fleers. Whenever the going gets tough, they flee all over the damn place. And that's something us real FBA brothers and sisters just don't do. We stand on business and fight racism, white supremacy.
And tribal or community leaders. All of these people to whom the deceased belong are listed on the obituary notices. And the funeral services are often attended by people.
In this damn tether, the Ghanaian president over there, because he is a tether, all he doing is lying, and trying to scam, our reparations claim right out from under us, and that's the mindset of foreign fleeing tether to constantly tell lies and scam.
So think of it as like a TV ad with the catalog component where
Yeah, family, but moving right along, I'm going to show y'all the FBA resistance. What this tether didn't expect was this FBA resistance from the FBA family, up there in New York. I don't think I can speed this, so I'm going to have to just kind of let this play and then cut it off. And I'm going to have to keep cutting it on in and out, family, because they play a lot of background music and I can't speed it up because it's a short. Turn that down. Just give you all the gist of it real quick.
Who is that talking? Hey, nigga, come holler at me, man. Is that Montgomery?
Salute to the brother Melrose, Mike, I believe his name is, up there in New York. And you see our sister Brooke in the background, standing on a bunch of FBA business. So salute to them brothers and sisters, for coming out, giving that real FBA pushback and resistance, because they didn't expect this, They expect, they was gonna go there and, not be checked, and try to finesse a bag right out from under us, but it ain't gonna happen. And I don't believe it's gonna happen anyway, because they, trying to, get people on board with it today as we speak, but it ain't gonna happen because they trying to make it race-based to where though all people of African descent get reparations. This is why, that'll never work. And we just going after lineage-based reparations for foundational Black American freedmen.
Hey, yo, Montgomery, I see you, nigga. This gonna be your first year on the administration, you dig? We getting you up out of here. Go check.
Okay, while we get that video back running, look, the bottom line is here, right? I know there's some people out here think that we are anti-African. We're not anti-African, but we are. Here we are. I'm gonna make it clear. We're anti anybody trying to incorporate themselves in what we started. Too many people are trying to come in now that the momentum is going and make themselves the face of the movement, just like when Martin Luther King was assassinated. Everybody but black folk were the beneficiaries of the civil rights movement and the bill after it was rewritten once he was killed. So we're not going to sit up here and let Al Sharpton and the New York Coalition Reparations Task Force pull a fast one with Benjamin Crump and then bring it in Ghana. One of the main people who were beneficiaries, big money beneficiaries, selling us to the Europeans. Man, oh man, oh man. Wow. So run the video 7th answer if the technical difficulties are out the way.
Vote, that means no check, no job.
And yeah, no check, no vote. I stand in full alignment and agreement with my brother because, we ain't voting, we gotta, nobody votes just to be voting, that don't even make no sense. You know what I mean? We gotta, get some tangibles for our vote after all of the damn, hard work our ancestors put in building this nation, going through slavery, injustice, Jim Crow, redlining, and for them to, constantly use these stall tactics, the right and the left wing. I ain't voting for neither damn party. I'm sitting it out and sitting on the couch, and the DNC gonna come, with these talking points. Oh, the world is gonna go to hell if you don't vote, and your voice counts and matters. Defend democracy. Trump gonna do this and that. We don't give a damn. We standing on real FBA lineage business, and if all of that's going to happen, meet our demands with that lineage-based justice claim in the form of cash reparations. Other than that, I ain't voting. We ain't got nothing to talk about. Case closed.
Ghana will not get our reparations. Mandami, I'm talking to you, Tether. Mandami, this ain't one of them little token Negroes you be running around to getting photo ops with. Hey, yo, my son, is you out there? My son, you out there?
If you have CalFresh, Medi-Cal, or SSI, you may qualify for a free iPhone 11, plus up to 10 gigabytes of data every month.
Salute to the brother Melrose, and we seriously gotta, as an FBA family, work to abolish, the Congressional Tether Caucus, because that's tethered out, and the NAACP too. They don't represent real FBA brothers and sisters' needs and interests. They represent, immigrants more so than us. They'll never in a million years speak for, FBA getting a lineage-based justice claim, but yet, they'll try to, be out here on the front lines when it regards, mass immigration to the U.S. Damn that, but let me show you another clip of, FBA brothers and sisters up there in New York standing on real FBA business. Fair use. I hope I don't get copyrighted for this because they got brother Tariq's song in here, Musty Tether. But this is Sister Brooke. Big shout out and salute to her up there standing on FBA lineage business. Thing. They couldn't even build their home homeland up. This is why they fleeing up over here. If they got so much wherewithal and tenacity and, you know, the ability to move and shake like that, their homelands wouldn't be in disarray in third world countries. America was built by, you know, our FBA ancestors through blood, sweat, and tears. We got blood in this soil and we're going to get compensated. We need them cash reparations, you know, ran quick, fast, and in a hurry. And, you know, y'all trying to finesse a bag for us, you know, use stall tactics, kick the can down the road. That, you know, ain't going to work anymore, you know, because we so on code that, you know, no reparations, no vote. And that's what caused, you know, Kamala Harris's, you know, narrow ass to, you know, not be, you know, in the presidency, you know, because they was unwilling to meet our demands. You know, if you want FBA to vote, you got to produce something tangible for real FBA society. Yeah, salute to the FBA family, Melrose and Sister Brooke up there, and, you know, the rest of them for standing on real FBA lineage business, you know. And message to that, you know, tether of a president, you know, from Ghana, you know, take your musty foreign fleeing ass on back home because you don't represent real FBA brothers and sisters. The African continent was complicit in the slavery of our FBA ancestors, and all y'all trying to do is undermine and finesse that bag from us. You know what I mean? But that ain't going to work because you got tons of real FBA brothers and sisters that know we ain't some generic African that are, you know, designating our lineage and standing on lineage business from here on out. Just my thoughts on the matter. Peace.
Now, here's another reason why it's going to be problematic if you let these voices come out here with it's race based. Because now for a minute now they've been trying, they want to bring in what the Democrats was bringing in. Well, for blacks and, well, they didn't say blacks anymore. They said people of color. That people of color thing. Now, if you let him, Mr. Ghana here, Mr. John Mahama, via Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crump, keep saying Africa and people around the world, slavery, people around the world, people of color. You see how that's starting to come into play? The next thing you know, it's race-based, which now will give the United States government the impetus to say, wait a minute, hold on, wait, hold up. This is confusing. First you say African, now you say people of color, people around the world who were enslaved. People, not everybody around the world was enslaved or made slaves. The activities that we did were here in America. So who are these people around the world that you're trying to incorporate as being recipients of reparations for slavery? See, wordplay, y'all. Wordplay. Listening is an art. They know exactly what they're doing. Just like Amos Brown out there in California, the NAACP undermined that $5 million per person, per black person. Those who are on drugs or have issues, they were going to have their money put up in escrow until they get healed, detox, whatever. But he said no. The NAACP chapter said no, which prompted the governor. What's this guy's name? Oh my God. Oh man, the governor of California. Never mind. I know when the show's over, it's gonna come to me. But anyway, the governor of California, he ain't nothing but a freaking supremacist and trickster. Said, okay, well, your NAACP said no, black folks, so my hands are tied. See, the same play is now in effect All right? Because now if they keep saying Africa and the people around the world, America is going to say we didn't enslave people around the world. So this reparations thing you're coming with, we're going to veto it, which is what they're aiming for. This is all a collusion and collaboration to undermine. He knows exactly what he's saying. The trickery. And that's why we here are on our job. Because now you know what's really even more interesting than that? America is now on record, officially now, their attitude. Now we already seen throughout the years all the pushback. Oh, if we give reparations to you black folks, it'll bankrupt the country. Oh, that was so long ago. Why should we pay for something that our forefathers did, even though we've been benefiting from it? You black people always crying. Forget slavery, forget the past. All that, right? But those were just sentiments of various people. But now, in the same gathering, this resolution, there was some pushback. Some nations who were against it. 50 European nations, which should not surprise you, were against it. But guess what though? The primary 3 nations that were the voice of all the others. You ready? This caught my ear and my eyes as I watched and listened. The United States, Israel, and Argentina. Let me repeat that again. The primary 3 nations, which 50 other European nations came under, saying they're against this whole hearing and resolution. The United States, Israel, and Argentina. I want you to pay careful attention. You know how we always told, remember the Holocaust. Never forget. And all that. And they get their 3.9 billion annually or more. They get their money from the United States, albeit Germany was the one who put them through what they got put through via Adolf Hitler. But they voted and are against reparations for black folk. The United States and Argentina. But Argentina, wait a minute. The same Argentina that just about 5 to 6 months ago received $40 billion from your president, Donald J. Trump. And all the Medicaid and everything else was cut back then to finance that. But Argentina is against it. And the United States, now, I say the United States for last because you know what? Officially now, behind representative by the name of Dan Negrea, speaking for America. And this statement he made is a point of reference. Yes, we understand and we recognize that there are those of you who feel some kind of way about what transpired in slavery. We understand that some of you feel this is an egregious act perpetrated by America. But however, with that being said, we must understand that all that the United States did during the period of slavery, in that time, was not illegal. Did you hear that? I'm going to say it again. He said, be that as it may. Please understand that all that was done by the United States in the period of slavery, it wasn't illegal. Translation, we didn't do nothing wrong. So it was legal for them to whip, chain, brutalize, sell us off like cattle. It was legal. It was legal in the area of breeding farms to have young black women being raped and young black men being used as bucks, reproducing so much so that you had at times these dogs would put a bag over the man who they use as the breeder to have sex with his own mother. Hence the term mother effer. That's where that came from. But according to Dan Negria, speaking for, and this is now an official statement from the United States of America, as he was their representative. It was legal for them to do that to us. It was legal for them to feed children to alligators, crocodiles as bait. It was legal for them on Sundays or whatever day to lynch, burn, maim, all the other acts of monstrosity you could think of. Dan Negria is officially speaking for the United States, and the United States says, we didn't do nothing wrong. It was all legal. Now, sure, after the Civil Rights Movement and the Civil Rights Bill, it may be considered illegal, but still, in that exact period, it was all legal, thus showing you why a great many white folks have that attitude about, we don't owe y'all nothing. It was legal. Thus confirming the scripture, Zechariah, the 11th chapter, at the 5th verse, saying that our possessors, those who would have the children of Israel in slavery, right? They would slay us, kill us, and then hold themselves not guilty. So it was legal for them to do what they did, and this is why, for so long, the pushback from this country regarding reparations was so vehement and so high-powered. But now with this as an official record, see, there was never an official statement made by the United States about how they felt about reparations that was on the books. So the one thing about this resolution at the United Nations, John Mahamiya, right along with Al Sharpton and Van Crump, they did get America to make an official statement. and the attitude and the sentiment, well, we don't see anything that we've done wrong because all those acts at that time were legal. Wow. So the bombing of Black Wall Street, Rosewood, all those Lake Lanier, and the sabotage of our business ventures, all of that, up until, including the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church, killing 4 little black girls, up until the assassinations of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Charles Hampton, Fred Hampton, Bobby Hutton, affectionately known as Little Bobby Hutton. All those acts, beating up on Fannie Lou Hamer and other sicking dogs on children, fire hoses, all that was considered legal. I just want to put that in perspective. And you think that this country isn't due some kind of divine justice, if indeed there is a divinity aspect to this? You think that other nations who see this and have seen what we've gone through here in this country, you think they're not going to fight hard to not have it happen to them? But do you understand now the mentality and why they're bringing in now usurpers, potential usurpers, to what? Sabotage the entire reparations momentum. See, this whole issue of bringing America to court, where did they get that idea from? Who was poised to bring America to court, to the United Nations? I'm going to give you 2 names. There was Malcolm X, who, before his assassination, was already had with other individuals in his aid, the Afro-American Organization of Unity. He had people on his team that were already garnering information, facts, evidence to bring America to court, to sue them for human trafficking and slavery, and with Fidel Castro, Cuba backing them, and the United Nations, other nations giving him the green light to come to the United Nations. Oh, Malcolm was on his way. And then we all know what happened in the Audubon Ballroom on 168th Street and Amsterdam Avenue in New York City, Manhattan. We all know what happened. Cut down and assassinated. But who else was getting ready to take America to court and had all the I's dotted, the T's crossed, and with a financial infusion of monies by Michael Joseph Jackson, who was getting ready to bring America to court? None other than one of our greatest legal minds to have walked God's green earth, Johnny Cochran. And then all of a sudden, he came down with some kind of brain tumor, inoperable brain tumor, due to high levels of radiation found in his electronic device, his cell phone, and other devices. He wound up dead, and sometime later, Michael Jackson would finally get got. But what was the common denominator concerning Michael and Johnny Cochran? They both had hooked up with Al Sharpton. Now, I'm just putting that out there. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but he alive and they dead. Just a thought. An admitted spy for the FBI. They dead and he alive. Just a thought. Just a thought. So no, we're not going to have our movement hijacked. And it's time for all of us out there active to get even more activated, like Jerry Curl Activator. If they still make that stuff, I don't know. But anyway, you know what I mean. And so now, we're now coming down to the last 10 minutes of a full 3 hours of dynamic in your face information. Let me see who's talking. I know who's talking the most. We ain't blackball you, Tyrone. Oh my Lord. And would you stop asking me about what the man, the guy that did that to me when I was a child, please? Would you stop asking me about that, please? That's unhealthy. Ty, Big Mississippi, come on, man. We got bigger fish to fry right about now. Okay? But anyway, as I said, the seventh answer and myself, we've given you nothing but a smorgasbord of good, healthy information, uncovering, and revelations. And this is the Lion's Den. The segment titled, The Conversation Continues. Our aim, mission, and purpose whenever we come here, day to day, week to week, depending on how things always work out. Again, like I said, to give you a heavy dose of a true, thoroughly listening experience, but also to inspire you, inform you, okay, influence you, and give you the insight you need to study and check things out for yourself. Because at the start and end of every day, it's going to always be, brothers and sisters, your spiritual, intellectual, and emotional responsibility to check all things out in the area of facts and information. And all we're going to do is continue to bring you the facts, and that's frequently accurate, correct truths. That's our mission, it's our job, it's our responsibility, because nobody else is going to do it as far as in the mainstream media. And there are other voices out there. We're not dogmatic nor autocratic. There are other voices out there that's dropping it, bringing the information, bringing it as the Lord has talented them and gifted them to do. So listen to these other voices. Check them out. So that way you're absolutely well-rounded. But understand, the Lion's Den, however, There's a certain spirit and power that we come and roll with. And thus, the eighth eye, what we do here is infallible. I want you to keep that in mind. So in closing, we thank you as always. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher and into your homes. We thank you. We can't thank you enough for trusting us to be one of the beacons that you use to educate and inform yourself. Every now and again, you might hear a little spicy language, but look, we're human. And unfortunately, sometimes there are certain events that just trigger us. So every now and again, our educated aspect might just give way to our basic instincts. But we get back on point, all right, as our scholarship allows us to be ambidextrous. A fancy word for we can do many things at any given time. And seventh answer, do you have any parting shots, love?
No, I'm tired.
Well, she should have been saying, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the star button to help her out. All right, monetarily, it's a good thing. And in closing, in the spirit of Don Cornelius, we always going to say, Shalom. Please walk in peace. Aha. Do your best to be a exhibitor of love and the posh at all costs. Watch over your and those you love's souls. And we are now up out of here. Shalom, shalom. Peace.